We'll call the meeting of the Arapahoe Town Board to order and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilman Logan. Councilman Deputy Supervisor Withers. Councilman Hall. Here. Councilman Friedman. Right here. Deputy Commissioner Hunter. Here. Supervisor St. Lawrence.
Here. I'd like to ask Deputy Supervisor Withers to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Okay. Chief,
Good morning.
you're up.
I'd like to hand out our statistics for compare this July compared to July 12.
Thank you, Chris.
Jump right down to the accidents. You notice that we had a few more accidents this year compared to the same time frame last year. However, the injuries, they were down by 3. Every other section was pretty much the same. False alarms were considerably higher. We talked about that at our last session. The false alarm 911 calls, you can see it's really spiked up compared to this time last year. Community service reports are probably about 50 or 60 more this year than the same time last year. Going down to the crimes, burglaries are up a little bit, larcenies are down, assaults are up considerably, criminal mischief is up a little bit, robberies down. Go down to the uniform traffic tickets. We wrote about 30 or 40 less summonses for the month of July, 13 as compared to 12. School buses were up a little bit. Cell phone enforcement was up. And the other 2 areas are pretty much similar. If you have any questions on those issues.
Just on the crimes, burglary is someone going into someone's house, robbery is on an individual.
That's correct.
Correct? So the robberies on the individuals is down considerably, from 5 to 1, but burglaries are up from 9 to 15 for the same monthly
Correct.
period. And also, Chief, are you assigning someone? We talked about the false alarms, both fire and 911. Are we looking into, or?
Yeah, I have a copy, yes, sir. I have a copy of the local law. We are looking into it. I have a recommendation in the next meeting to see how we can attack this.
Perfect. Okay, and I'm sure there may be some questions. Any questions from anyone?
Community events last month. The wedding in New Square, uneventful. Went to a Harum dinner. In fact, I believe they honored you, Mr. Supervisor. And then, as I mentioned, the last session, I went to the village board, Fairmont. They had a complaint about speeding school buses. And to that end, we held several meetings. We met with the East Arapahoe School District Assistant Director of Transportation, with his safety coordinator. They were in my office. And I discussed the issues with them. As a matter of fact, we will be part of their training session early September. We also met with Massa Ambulance Services. The village board members were under the impression that they were not permitted to transport students, and nothing could be further from the truth. There is some truth to the matter that they do transport many of our handicapped students, but that does not disallow them to transport any other student. There was a complaint about that bus speeding on Regina Road, and I find it ironic because the complaint was that, I'll use a hypothetical, 42 Regina, and the stop was at 39 Regina. So I'm hard-pressed to figure out how that school bus could speed between 3 houses. We also received a complaint from 2 bus drivers with the student bus company. I spoke with them as well. As a matter of fact, yesterday, Officer Brown went over as part of their training session and gave part of the training was not only school bus safety, but speeding school buses, etc. So he was well received there. So we certainly, I think we're not did whatever we can to try to take care of that situation.
I received a report that some of the buses on Cherry Lane, Camp Regesh, were speeding. So I think that, I think it's great that you're doing the education. Following up from our last meeting, you talked about doing education with the actual bus companies themselves. So when you talk whether it's a student bus or whether it's Chestnut Ridge or whoever it may be, a lot of them, they do the camps as well, and they should just remind their camp drivers to, go slow as
We'll do the
well.
same on that, and we'll go send some up to, I know it as, and you may know as, the Cotton bus service up there, and I think, I don't know what it is now, might be Chestnut Ridge.
It is Chestnut Ridge,
Chestnut
yeah.
Ridge, we're going to go up there, and I think the time's appropriate. We'll be part of the training session, and each bus company told me this time of year they have all their drivers in, and go over a litany of issues, not only with the speeding, but also about making sure that there's no child after the school bus, et cetera, et cetera. So we are certainly in the forefront of that, Mr. Supervisor. A couple other issues I'd like to just bring to your attention. We have one of our officers I'm recommending that he attend a training session for our CAPS gun, which is the pepper spray. The cost of that will be about $424, and that includes the cost of the course as well as the overnight stay. I'm recommending that Officer Anton attend that course, and he'll bring the information back. It's like a train-the-trainer situation.
And then he'll train our officers.
He will train our officers, that's correct. I don't know if we need a motion on that.
To send him to the training?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we should have
Yeah, it's going to be overnight. The total cost, I understand, is $424.10.
That's all in, Chief, travel? all in?
That's
And the course.
Course registration for $187, and the room is $237 for a couple of nights.
All right, so we'll have our attorney, Steve Powers, will work on that, and
Okay.
we'll make a motion by Deputy Supervisor Witter, second by Councilman Friedman, to pay for Officer Anton to go off to do the training for $424. Moved?
Thank you, sir.
Seconded? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Chief?
Thank you. I have another request for some additional training. I'd like to recommend Sergeant Lee. It's a 3-day training session. However, the first day is basically a welcome and an orientation. He feels that will not be as productive as day 2 and day 3. The cost of this will be $324. The conference is no charge. However, there'll be a $162 per night fee for the hotel. Total is $324. As you know, this town board spent a lot of money on a new computer system, and we want to make sure that we're on the cutting edge. If there's any new software, et cetera, I think it'll be wise to send them up there. And maybe just as an aside, the computer system now has permeated the entire department. The officers are very conversant with it now, and they feel it's leap years beyond what New World was. So
Fantastic.
I think it was money well spent.
Absolutely, and it brings all the information to one source and attaches it to each file, and it helps our detectives, it helps everybody in the department, I would imagine.
And as you know, I'm not on the cutting edge with computer. I can do it fairly well. It's user-friendly.
You can use the as well, Chief?
Yeah, it's as simple as this. Renee, and it works. For some reason, I don't even have to do anything with that. It's a beautiful thing, a computer.
That's fantastic. We'll have a motion. Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. That's for the $324.
Thank you very much. And lastly, as you recall, Mrs. Hunter made a recommendation about some radar equipment for our police vehicles. And as you probably are not aware, but I just want to let you know, we ordered new vehicles, but they're not in yet. There's quite a delay on it. Captain Coakley has a little bit more information on it. Perhaps you'll update the board.
Yes, something wants to do now, regular emergency control and I had to explain to something that our budget, some area we have to account for, the budget line that purchase is not there, and that one wasn't there, so I just today, the audit, seems like it's going on elsewhere than that.
Fantastic. And how many units were we looking to get?
It's not the 1 and 2, I'll see if I can get the $1,500 a piece, so I got to come up with
Okay.
Along with that, just recommended the board was
Yeah.
there between $2,000 to $2,500. That's the total technical room I have to try to
Okay, so,
The team leaders, Lieutenant Green did purchase one, we're waiting for him.
you know, I believe when it's equipment, that we may be able to use the grant money that we got from the district attorney's office on the seizure money.
The grant money I have to use that, we're replacing the EC center.
Okay.
Now we're up to $100,000, and left. When that is complete, then I'll take that and we'll have to purchase the other.
Gotcha. So you're looking at which is the best place to take it from? You're doing an audit out that way. Okay, good, good. I do want to let everybody know, on the commission and on the board, and I want to do a resolution on this, Steve, that Commissioner Hunter also requested that we have the window tinting devices in all the vehicles, which I think is a great idea, and she is donating $1,750 to make those purchases. And so that's fantastic, first off. She is passionate about it. She's passionate about the police force, and she is very hands-on, and she is making that donation, and we thank you very much. And now we'd like to put it in a formal resolution, because to receive that donation, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilman Ullman. That's a motion to receive a donation of $1,750 from Deputy Commissioner or Commissioner Hunter, and we appreciate that. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
There's two other areas I'd like to touch on before I request some time with the board executive session. On August 13th, we had our compliance check for underage drinking and serving in the different retail establishments. We went to 20 locations in town, and all were compliant. So that's a good...
That's fantastic.
Okay. And then, Mr. Supervisor, we have...
And that means, I think that's about the last few years that people have been compliant. So all the efforts that were put on in rescuing our youth and all the work done by the police department on that outreach has paid off.
And then lastly, Mr. Supervisor, we have a detective assigned over to the district attorney's office. We have funding for that. I don't remember who handles that. I don't know if it's finance handles that. You do? Finance handles that? Okay, so then maybe after the meeting I'll get with that. And the DA, as a byproduct of that, the DA is very happy with his performance. It's Detective Whalen, and he's doing a great job over there, and I think it enhances our relationship with the DA's office. Other than that, Mr. Supervisor, I do have some issues I would like to discuss with the board in executive session, if you have some time.
Well, one of we will go into executive session. We'll ask anybody from the public if they want to speak. And also, Chief, we had talked, you were going to do some research into where we could go with a K-9 and what are our options. And
Yes. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's a little early, but I'd like to do a lot of research, make sure we get the proper K-9. As you may remember, we have 2 or 3 sources for K-9s, not only locally, but we can get one from out of the country. I don't know if he needs a passport. So
At least a visa.
But now we received, we could call the state police and see if they'll welcome us. At one time, we were there. In fact, our first K-9 came from there. But the second time, they closed it out to just state police officers. Then we went to Orange County Sheriff's Department. So I would certainly appreciate the board's concern, and with your approval, I'd like to go forward with that and see if we can get that K-9.
yes, would you do that? And will you give us an update at our next meeting?
I will, sir.
Great. Okay, is there anybody in the public that wants to address the police commission? Come right up.
Robert Romanowski, 183 Maple Avenue, Muncie. I just want to get a clarification of some terms, because these three always mix me up: burglary, larceny, and robbery. Two of them were pretty much explained. Burglary is when you break into someone's house. But if you break into someone's house when they're home, is that also a robbery? Is that also called a burglary and a robbery? And what is a larceny?
Larceny could be, if you go into ShopRite and you steal something, okay? If you steal something from a car, you consider it larceny. Just required to mention, the robbery is stealing from a person, and the burglary is stealing from a house or a commercial residence. Retail establishment that is not open for public.
Okay, that's a burglary.
That's a burglary.
And a robbery is when you take something from a
From a
person.
person.
But if someone goes into a house and steals something from a person while they're home, is that two crimes? Is that both a burglary and a robbery?
That's what it included, right?
If someone is home and the person is confronted and he is forced to turn on the power, then it would be two crimes, one for the burglary itself and one for the robbery.
Okay, thank you.
And to add on that, the burglary will be burglary one, if someone's in the home. And there's reasonable grounds to believe that he would be home, like a daylight burglary.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Chief. Anybody else from the public? Motion to close the public participation by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. So, Chief, you're requesting that we go into an executive session for police personnel matters?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so everybody could leave. Jack, you can turn the TV off, and we'll be right back on shortly. Withers, seconded by Councilman Friedman. The first item was a reimbursement from the LDC to the town. Moved by Pat, seconded by Ullman. All those in favor say aye. The next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes for the July 10th meeting. Moved by Withers, seconded by Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Next is the regular meeting, the regular minutes of July 18th. Moved by Withers, seconded by Friedman. All those in favor say aye. On the town attorney, we're tabling item number 5 because that contract hasn't come up yet. And we'll have Steve, you can go over 1 through 4.
Okay, we'll go over the town attorney, Google agrees, but I just want to jump out of order. I wanted to do 3E, acceptance of the proposal for excess workers' compensation insurance, and the level of...
Oh, okay. Go right ahead, Malcolm.
Morning. Basically, this year was a very challenging year for the workers' compensation, just because our loss experience has changed adversely.
Yeah, go ahead, Newcomb.
In the past, we didn't really have any claims coming close to the self-insured retention. We had, as you see in the letter, we had one claim that actually penetrated the self-insured retention, 2 claims that appeared to be rather high claims, and one old claim of 2004 that became larger. What we did this year was we submitted it to 5 companies. 3 are really specialists in writing excess workers' compensation. They write a lot of municipalities. 2 are just large national companies like the Travelers and the Hartford. Travelers came back and they said it would be somewhere around 450,000. So we basically said, no, we don't need, we don't need a firm quote from you. At the end of the day, there were 2 bids, 2 proposals that came in. One was from the incumbent carrier, Safety National, that came with 2 options. One is a $700,000 retention on all other, which means all other than police officers, and the other one is $750,000 and $800,000, $750,000 for all other and $800,000 for police officers. We also got a proposal from Midwest Employers that came with 3 options. All 3 of them are higher than the Safety National quote. So based on the conversation with the committee that handles the insurance for extra workers' compensation, I think it's really down to the two Safety National proposals, which are really very close. It's a difference of approximately $5,000, and it's a difference in retention of $50,000. So this is basically what it boils down to, unless you have any other questions.
So the committee is recommending the acceptance of this proposal, but there's a little option there that we have to decide right now.
Yeah, well, we have other proposals here, but I think it boiled down really to these two, and I think that the committee chose one of the other. I'm not.
Yeah, we recommended that we spend the extra $5,000 because it's a $50,000 difference in our liability. So in other words, if we would hit it $50,000 sooner, and since a lot of our claims are now reaching this level, if we pay $5,000 extra, all we need is one claim to save $50,000, and it's a good investment. And we have several that are getting close to this number. So
Okay, so
it seems like a much bigger risk.
I think we should spend the extra $5,000 to cover ourselves for the $50,000 and go with the recommendation of you and the committee. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Okay, moved by? Friedman. Moved by Councilman Friedman, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. You know, we also, thank you, no comment, thank you for waiting and being patient for wait. We also have Mr. Duffy here, and he's been patient as well. So why don't we go right to 3A3?
And we just pass this out. These are just a simple summary of where we are in the United Water case. So I'm here seeking the town board's approval to join the municipal consortium, which consists so far of the other 4 towns. And Stony Point joined last night, or the night before last. I understand the village of Sloatsburg has joined. The Rockland County Solid Waste Authority has joined. And I have a conference call tomorrow with Scott Vanderhoff and the Deputy County Attorney. I think they're very close to joining. So let me just back up and set the stage here a little bit. On June 14th, United Water New York filed for a surcharge to pay for the Haverstraw desalination plant. That surcharge was to go effective August 1st at 8%. I calculate eventually in 2 years that surcharge will be well over 25%. Just for the desalination plant. July 2nd, United Water came in and filed for a general rate increase of 28.9%. So now we have 28.9% to become effective June 1st of next year, plus the surcharge, which will increase every 6 months, reaching at least 25%. So we're facing 25%, 28%, we're looking at over 50% in the next 2 years of water rate increases. That is unacceptable, and that is why we are trying to put a consortium together to intervene, which we've already done, before the Public Service Commission, as Supervisor St. Lawrence has already done on behalf of the town, to fight this ridiculous rate increase. And so what we are trying to do is to get the Public Service Commission to say no to the desal plant eventually, and to reduce this rate request. Now, as far as the desalination plant is concerned, the Commission on July 19th issued an order to United Water requiring them within 30 days, so that brings us to August 28th, to file a report justifying the need for the desal plant. This is fairly unusual because this project has been underway since 2007, to my knowledge. And United Water reports in their filing seeking a surcharge that they've already spent $56 million. They do not own the site yet, so they haven't paid for the site, and they don't have a single permit to move forward. They're waiting for the final environmental impact statement to be issued by the DEC. Nevertheless, they had the chutzpah to come in and seek a surcharge for a project that's not even permitted. The normal course of events is the project gets built, then gets put into rates, so when it's used and useful, in our language, the project then begins to be reflected in rates and the customers start to pay for it. So this is an extraordinary exception from the normal, and it's even more abnormal because they don't even have a permit yet. The commission looks like, and who knows, but looks like they're taking a de novo review of the whole project, and I'm assuming that there is going to be a lot of people that are going to weigh in on that particular proceeding. So I'm not here to seek your support to join that fight, because it really hasn't started yet. Maybe next month I'll be here with that. But here I'm seeking your support to join the municipal consortium. We've set a budget of $90,000. That's a hard cap. Anything that goes beyond that, I will absorb. And the sharing from the towns will be on the basis of population. After we have the contributions, for example, I believe it's $20,000 from the Solid Waste Management Authority.
We passed that at our last meeting, and we hope to pass a similar resolution for $20,000 at the sewer district, and then look at the towns and whoever else, villages that are
And
going to be
we're
involved.
trying to set up a meeting also with the school districts, because the schools use water, and that's a part of their budget. So we're hoping to do that when everybody comes back in September to get them, you know. The goal is, in addition to try to minimize the costs on everyone, but politically to show the extraordinary opposition that's coming out of Rockland County to United Water's rate increase. Any questions?
No, it's fantastic.
And the resolution 383 is to accept the proposal of Dan Duffy, SY, to provide the above professional services with respect to the United Water rate request.
Moved by? Deputy Supervisor, moved by Councilman Ullman, second by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you very much. I wanted you to move that because you... Yes, you moved the resolution against the DSAL.
Try to go back to some type of order. Okay, 3A1 is authorize an extra written agreement with the Suffolk Volunteer Host Company number 1 to utilize 21 Valley Road, Hillburn, New York, for a baking shoot.
I'll move it.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by?
They can shoot, not me.
Moved by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
All right, next item on the agenda is 3A2. It's an agreement with Anthony Musto to serve as golf professional at Spruce Rock Golf Course. It's to extend the use agreement.
What does our golf committee say? Head of our golf committee.
They're happy with Tony. Dan is...
Dan's happy to. There's a letter that was enclosed.
We have a memo signed by both Michelle and I that we have seen a well-run pro shop this year. He's sent the duty, he's there all the time, and we feel that he gets another shot.
And more better inventory, better everything.
Yeah, bigger inventory, and by doing it now, he will be able to plan instead of waiting, and missing out on sales. Like right now, for merchandise, that we can get in the shop.
Did he indicate, though, like he was supposed to come forward with his PGA license? Is he still working on that?
He is working on that, but the golf committee and the department have somewhat backed off on that a little bit because the only thing that does is give you the opportunity for some PGA program events that we really don't have any people interested in anymore. But it is something he's still pursuing.
Okay, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, who's liaison to the Parks and to the Golf Advisory. Seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you.
3A4, and that's to execute an agreement with IQM2 Inc. for meeting our management software.
Moved by Councilman Ullman. Seconded by? Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. I also want to add in one, that is the designation of Haverum as an official emergency services organization in the town of Ramapo. Moved by Councilman Friedman, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. And we should have a liaison. I think we should make Shirley Kahan the liaison to the police department for this. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Congratulations. Stand up, we want to see you on TV. Thank you. Go ahead now, you can go back to the certiaries.
Yes, right. Next, we have the settlement of our cases. We have Scott Shadler to discuss that.
Scott?
Other members of the board, we have two items. First, is Why Not Us LLC, it's a truck terminal in the village of Chestnut Ridge. Based on an appraisal, we have no, and the settlement proposed will be a refund of $3,073.
Moved by Councilman, Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And Scott, you have another one?
The next one is Stonegate Homes, condominium 9, based on an appraisal, the settlement that we reached indicates the total town refund of $13,239.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Next item we have is a settlement for claim Gene Dennis. This was an automobile accident, and the town's contribution to the settlement is going to be $16,000.
Okay.
Not recommending settlement.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Next item.
The next one, we just had a discussion on this. We're looking for some engineering backup on that, on the Pioneer Ave, and so that will bring us up.
Appoint a point person for that?
Would you do that? You just appointed yourself. We'll appoint you to work. Nat has been working with the point person with the finance, and you can and Ted with the site, and you could be working the legal side with Nat. Okay? All right.
Yes.
All right, Nat, what do we have on finance?
Okay, we have 4A1, to receive of joint terrorism task force funds of $1,432.52.
Give it to Anton. Moved by Councilman Ullman, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Give it to Anton for his education. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
4A3 is a transfer of funds from where we have senior citizen groups that have not taken the money, Michelle has asked to move into her family funds.
Okay, so that's a transfer from the senior line to the summer camp program. Okay. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
And 4B is the authorization of leave of absence for the employee and finance department.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Thank you. Mona, do we have anything in purchasing?
I'm just asking you to declare a very small equipment as surplus so that I can dispose of it according to New Jersey law and our purchasing policy.
Okay. Motion to declare surplus equipment. Moved by Councilman Friedman, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
In the future, we need to be listed exactly what that is.
These are small things, not huge things, so.
We do that offline. Next is under new business, a cleanup of properties on 15 Briarcliff Drive, 12 Pauline Court, and 28 Dwight Avenue. Ted, is that?
We table the Briarcliff one because
Okay, we'll table Briarcliff, and then the action on Pauline Court? Okay. All right, so we'll do Pauline Court first. This is an action to have it cleaned up and then put the costs onto their tax bill. Okay? Okay, motion on Pauline Court. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by? On Pauline Court?
Friedman.
Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And then on 3 Dwight, the same is to go in, 28 Dwight, is to go in to ameliorate the situation and put it onto their the cost onto their tax bill. Moved by?
Withers.
Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by? Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And then we have approval for undertaking permit, traffic preemption system. Undertaking permit, so they,
It's an undertaking permit.
okay.
It's with the state of New York, I have that here, it's 7B. Basically, as you know, the town right now is setting up a preemption system on traffic lights.
On the Opticon, yep.
Emergency vehicles to proceed through the traffic lights, and because we're going on state highways and or their right-of-ways, they would ask us to enter into an agreement with them. We're going into our application for an undertaking permit.
So we run all of our applications through them, they get to review them that way? Okay. And that's what Mike, that's what you want, Mike? Yep,
And it's a
okay.
recommendation, right, Mike O'Reilly.
Okay, good. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. I think that's all of our business. Did you have any other new business items?
We have the highway department.
Supervisor, I have two other small items, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
One of them is, I got a phone call late yesterday from the mayor of Hempstead. They're willing to start Sarah's hurt and do surgery on his back, and they're asking us to do more.
Do more.
Plans and things that we don't do now. Our original contract with them used to be $1,200 a month. They had asked for reductions to $800 a month, which we do this year. I'm asking that we bump it back up to $1,200 a month.
And continue doing more reviews. Okay.
And it's indefinitely, they don't know how long it's going to be out, if he's ever going to be back, and then we'll renegotiate our contract in January.
Okay, so this is to amend the contract from $800 a month to $1,200 a month. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Supervisor,
Yeah.
one last thing is,
Yeah.
if you remember, Meadows East, new development that's happening there by Augusta Avenue, came in with a recommendation for a name called Fontaine Road, which you rejected as not making any sense. They give you 3 more names to take a look at, and
How about
We'll come up with a name. We don't tell, you can tell them they don't need to give us any more names. We'll come up, we'll name the road. That's, you know, we'll take the 3 because the trees have been killed already, and we'll, in deference to the trees, but we don't need to have them, you know, we'll come up with an appropriate name. Okay. Is the road dedicated? It's not dedicated yet, obviously, so, okay. It's probably not close to being dedicated, so, yeah. All right, so we'll come up with a name for that. Okay, any other new business for any council members?
Highway department, Tony, discuss the...
Well, no. And when we adjourn today's meeting, we want to adjourn it in memory of Bernard Charles. He was a councilman here in the town of Ramapo in 1966. He was sworn in January 1st, 66, and he then served from 1970 to 1973. And it goes back to the time when my father was on the board and when my father was in the assembly as well. As a matter of fact, you had a story you wanted to relay, Chris, about...
Well, it's interesting, when Mr. Charles was elected back in November 1965, there was a sort of 11th hour opposition to his serving, action brought by the opposing political party, indicating the cause of the action was that you had to be a landowner to have elected office, and it's a state law that dated back to the early 19th century. No one had ever invoked that law prior to this, but they invoked this law and sought to prevent him from taking office. It went through some political process, and it was politically, the opposing party was asked to hold off. In fact, what did happen is that former New York State legislator Joseph T. St. Lawrence took up this cause, and while it took 2 years, he had that law repealed in the state of New York, so that you didn't have to be a landowner to run for elective office and to serve. Clearly, that law stemmed from a time when landowners ruled the roost, and no one else was allowed to make decisions. So Joe St. Lawrence is once again a champion for the people of New York State, in this case, in having that law repealed.
And
And in fact, he did serve.
and that's fantastic. He was the first African-American council member in the town board,
And served on the county legislature.
and as a matter of fact, the Republican Party that was challenging him was Gene Levy, who was on the board at that time, and they were elected together as a team, and the Republicans then backed off on at the request of the political will of the land would be that the law should be changed, and my father then took that cause up, and they were able to get it changed. And then after that, the Civil Rights Act in 1965 really talked about this issue across the whole nation. And
It would have taken many, many years for a local action like ours to make it up to the Supreme Court, where it certainly would have been struck down, but a faster path.
It's fantastic.
In New York State.
So we will send a letter to his family, which includes Councilwoman Brendel Logan, who's married to Bernard Charles' son, and thanking him and letting him know that we're closing today's meeting in his honor and for all the service. He went on, after spending time here in the town board, he went on and became a county legislator here in Rockland County as well.
I believe he opened up the charter for the NAACP in Spring Valley.
He
As a
may
founding
have.
member, yes.
He was one of the founding members for the NAACP. So he was a great guy, and we're sorry for his loss. And with that, the entire town board will adjourn in his memory. So we're adjourned. Thank you all very much.